Hello, everyone. This is Bob Dorsett in Meeker, Colorado, on the upper reaches of the White River. The White River Alliance asked me to prepare this video for distribution to other interested water users. A full report is available on the White River Alliance website, and I would be glad to provide links to the original data. I have monitored the White River for 25 years with the Colorado River Watch, and in affiliation recently with the White River Alliance. The Alliance asked me to provide a summary of water year 2023. That is the content of this video. The White River drains the Flat Tops region of northwest Colorado. It is a major tributary of the Green River, which itself is the main tributary of the Colorado. The USGS defines water years from October 1st through September 30th, labeled by the January year date. Water year 2023 ended last September 30th. My main sources of data include the Flat Tops SNOTELs and the USGS river gauging station near Meeker, as well as other gauging stations in the White River Basin. State climate data comes from reports published by the Colorado Climate Center at Colorado State University. A couple technical details. I analyzed trends in temperature and flow parameters using Mann-Kendall statistics. That is standard methodology for non-parametric time series. Trend lines on the graphs were plotted by least squares analysis in Microsoft Excel. Detailed statistics are available in the online report. I would be happy to provide further particulars to anyone who is interested. A note on the video production. I am not a production expert, so apologies in advance. Feel free to adjust the playback rate to suit your own time and interest, and please pause the video as necessary to study the graphs. Here is a quick overview for those who might want to tune out early. 2023 produced a really good snowpack, ranked 5th highest snow water equivalent in the 35-year historical data. Total runoff came in at 133% of normal. We saw a brief algae bloom in July, which quickly disappeared. Climate trends and long-term forecast, however, remain very worrisome. Here is an outline of the presentation. I will summarize the Climate Center report on the water year. Then I will discuss the temperature, precipitation, and flow parameters in the White River Basin. Finally, I will summarize the river forecast just published by the Climate Center. Some background to begin with. River flow has three main components. In our region, snowpack is the main reservoir, and river flow depends largely on snow melt. Snowpack is measured in snow water equivalent, that is, how many inches of water are delivered by the snow if it was captured in a rain gauge. Second input in our region is the summer monsoon, typically several weeks in July and August. Both the snowpack and the monsoon are driven by larger atmospheric circulation. That circulation has become more variable with global warming. The warmer atmosphere generally holds more moisture, but where it drops on the landscape and in what quantities has become more erratic. The third component to river flow is air and soil temperature. Hotter, drier air sucks moisture out of the soil by evapotranspiration. That is, the soil loses water by direct evaporation and also from plant leaves. Drier soil, on the other hand, absorbs water out of the river system, so snowpack on dry soil will go first into the soil and not down the river. Here is a summary of the Colorado Climate Center Water Year Report. This is a statewide summary, not specific to our river basin. It describes the major statewide trends. All the river basins on the western slope show similar patterns, except the Four Corners trend hotter and drier than farther north. Temperatures in 2023 stayed relatively cool in our region, and the big snowpack delivered more water into the rivers. The monsoons failed, though, and water year 2024 started out with dry soils that will likely reduce flows this spring. Note that our region's temperature was relatively cool compared to the rest of the planet. A couple comments. This map shows the temperature anomaly relative to the 1991 through 2020 global average. The National Climate Center uses 30-year averages as baseline and updates every 10 years, so these data do not reflect the cumulative, much larger increase in temperature above pre-industrial climate. Still, our region was relatively cooler compared to the record high global temperatures in 2023. Here we are, relatively cool blue compared to the rest of the planet. Here's the state map of 2023 precipitation. We were in a pocket of near median precipitation, but with extra water delivered into the basin from the nearby flat tops. Roughly, that's us. Snow water equivalent was about 126% of median at its peak in April. Note the variability in snowpack over the past 5 years. Also note the trend towards earlier snowmelt. That is consistent with increasing winter temperatures on the flat tops. This graph shows the last 5 water years snowpack. Note the legend on the right side of the screen. Now to the flow data. Runoff down the White River last spring was 133% of median. All the major river basins on the western slope ran above average. Here's us. This graph shows the last 5 years of White River flow as recorded by the USGS Water Watch. Black line is the measured flow. Color intervals represent roughly 20 percentiles. Note that the 2023 runoff was not much above the median despite the near record snowpack. And note also that we started 2024 at about median flow. That reflects the dry end of the summer despite the big snowpack. This is a bit of an aside. It's interesting that the upper basin reservoirs refilled, but the big reservoirs on the lower Colorado remained low. That results from water management decisions on the Colorado River, of course, and not just the runoff. The next couple slides offer insight into the present water year 2024. The monsoons failed, and soils on the western slope are really dry. Dry soils will sponge up snowmelt again in the spring. The next series of slides document climate trends in our region. These are all updated with the 2023 data. I show the Burrow Mountain snowtail data. Ripple Creek and Trappers snowtails have the same patterns. Overall trends in temperature, precipitation, and runoff all point toward a hotter, drier future. Temperatures in the headwaters are rising, especially in winter and late summer. Precipitation is decreasing. Total accumulated precipitation has dropped by about 9 inches over the last 35 years. Total discharge down the White River has decreased by about 14% over the period of record. This graph shows confirmed flow at the USGS gauging station near Meeker. The gauging station at Watson, Utah, at the bottom of the drainage shows the same trend. Neither graph accounts directly for ditch withdrawals. I have included ditch records in other analyses, and I see no evidence that the ditches affect overall trends in the river discharge. The conservation districts have begun a multi-year study of ditch water return flow. That study will further clarify any effect of ditches on river discharge. Runoff occurs earlier in the spring. It is now about a week earlier than at the beginning of the USGS records 100 years ago. Late summer flow has dropped dramatically. On this trend line, we're headed toward fall flow conditions like the Yampa and the Dolores. Note there is considerable variability from one year to the next, but the overall trend is significantly downward. Low flows and higher temperatures stress the fish and stimulate nuisance algae. Higher temperatures with drier soils stress plants and contribute to a feedback cycle with even lower flows in subsequent years. A look now into the future based on the trend lines of the past and climate modeling into the next century. Earth's climate is in a transition period with considerable variability. That variability is especially evident in extreme weather events such as floods, wildfires, and heat waves. Predictions on a regional scale have to take climate variability into account. Most worrisome is the apparent acceleration of global temperature. Last year was very likely the highest average yearly temperature in the evolutionary span of our species. Humans have not previously seen such high temperatures. These graphs show temperature anomalies relative to the pre-industrial, that is 1850 to 1900, global mean temperatures. The remaining slides project Colorado temperature, precipitation, and soil conditions into the future. Statewide trends are the same as we see here on the White River: lower precipitation, earlier and lower runoff, drier and hotter soil conditions. These climate center forecasts are based on the same kinds of data I've shown for our White River, but including all of the state's river basins. The next few slides provide more background for the climate center predictions. I will scroll through them, but leave it to you to pause for further reading. There's not much we can do directly to change the trends except with global scale action by governments and by the big energy producers. Thank you for your attention. Once again, all the data is available online, and I would be happy to answer any questions.